Our planet appears to be in a whirlwind of chaos as we have these intense energies flowing in that are only going to become more and more intense as we step into November and December, making the month of December in 2024 going out with a huge bang. And for some people in some places, it literally appears like apocalyptic times. Therefore, many of you and many people all over the planet seem to be a bit concerned. So today, I'm taking subscriber questions, members of the tribe, answering questions about the economy, the prices of precious metals, everything from volcanic eruptions, future weather, and all types of questions. This is my Psychic Predictions Q&A. Beautiful souls, beautiful tribe, welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, new to this channel, welcome aboard. My name is Joseph Tittel, aka Spiritman JT, and we're going to be taking subscriber tribe members' questions that were left in the comments when I requested you do so. Do not leave any more comments. I got 5 pages worth of stuff to go through, and I'm not even going to get through it all today, but I will get through as much as I can. And if you're new here and you want accurate predictions, prophecy and truth, you want to vibe with our awesome tribe, please do smash that subscribe, the bell, and all so that you get notifications. Also, be sure to always check your subscription. Not just for this channel, other channels too. It seems that people suddenly disappear like the rapture from the channel. Not by their doing either. So if I don't pop up on your feed, especially by Wednesday of each week, be sure to go directly to the channel and make sure you're still subscribed. Down below, you'll find the link to all my social media, including the Subscribe Star Awaken Your Spirit community of supporters and all the supporters and members of this tribe who make this free content possible for everybody else and allows me the time to take out to answer all these questions today. Also, down below, you will find the links to all my social media, including Spotify and Rumble. And if you happen to get a private message or direct message on any platform, especially if it's Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, that is not me. So please report those profiles right away. The only contact you'll find with me will be directly from my website, josephtittel.com, Tittel.com, or spiritmanjt.com. Let us move on to our Psychic Predictions Q&A. So one of my first questions today comes in from tribe member Just Cheeky, who is a very big supporter of the channel, who asked about the event that happened in Washington, D.C. on October 13th. An event that a lot of people weren't aware of, asking if it's real or if it was a simulation. I did a whole piece on that on yesterday's show, Tea Time episode 139. So if you missed that, go back to that. That'll cover all your questions revolved around that. And then we have Talia. Talia in the chat room comments is saying, Joseph, you had brought up in the past that a celebrity, an elite would be falling off a balcony or jumping. This happened last week with Liam Payne. You called it months ago. And then someone else asked in a separate comment before that, what happened? Which I also addressed on yesterday's show, but I'll just touch base on it because it's simple. It had a lot to do, whether people want to believe it or not, with demonic possessions and demonic energies that basically forced him to run and jump off that roof. Of course, the drugs didn't help with that any, but that's all connected to the dark underground of the music industry, Hollywood, and all the global elite, just about all of them. Not all of them, but just about, especially when it comes to the celebrities and all. The Luciferians, who believe that they are the light bearers on the planet, that believe that they are entitled to things that the rest of us are not entitled to, including their sick little fetishes and all the other things. Once you get to a certain point, especially in the music industry, but even in Hollywood, you basically sign your soul over. You do it or you don't. We know what happens at Epstein Island. We know what happens at the P. Diddy compounds as well. They record you. They have all those recordings. What's going to be the outcome of that? Because some people speculate that the Homeland Security actually went into the P. Diddy to delete content, to get rid of it. Well, but he's in jail. And it just keeps piling up and piling up. And friends, This story is going to be huge when we step in to 2025, which takes me to past predictions where I talked about Spirit showing me the underground tunnels, all the stuff that's happening with little ones being caught up in traffic, and it's just disgusting. And if people knew what really happened down there, harvesting of organs, all kinds of stuff. And I thought about doing a channeled video on remote viewing and going into the tunnels, as much as I don't want to. But I know a lot of you would want me to. So I'm going to consider that for the month of November. Also, remember in December, I'll be putting out my 2025 world predictions, and I do a 3-hour private broadcast for supporters. And I believe that's going to be on December 18th. Sign up for my newsletter down below, and it'll be in the November newsletter, information about that and how you can sign up. Moving on to a question from Miss Lauren in the chat, who is asking us, and I believe I may have addressed this on episode Tea Time yesterday, 139 episode. Will Mount Adams volcano in Washington state erupt in the near future? It depends on what you're talking about when we're talking near future. But between now and 2030, no, I do not feel like if it does, it's going to be minor, nothing major to worry about. Although I do feel major volcanic eruption, at least one coming within the United States very, very soon. And I believe if we go back to channeled predictions, it would align with Mount St. Helens and Mount St. Helens erupting. But Spirit gives me this strong feeling that something's more rather new. You know, new meaning it hasn't erupted, or maybe it hasn't erupted in a very, very long time. This is connected to a national or state park. Not sure which one. It could very well be Yellowstone National Park, because Yellowstone National Park was in past predictions where I said it would be shut down, which it was. But what didn't come true about that predictions revolved around Yellowstone, was I said that I saw lava leaking out of the ground, more like an earthquake cracking open. And Spirit's confirming, yes, there will be earthquakes a little bit larger than normal hitting Yellowstone National Park, right in the middle, whatever that means. I don't know if they mean right in the middle. I guess right in the middle. Right in the middle of the state, or right in the middle of the park. So we'd have to look at that at the map. I don't have a map to bring up for you right now. It's not so much the volcanic eruption that's going to be so significant as what erupts after the volcanic eruption. It's going to be more symbolic than anything. And it will be followed by a very large quake opposite of the volcano, but in a distance. So pretty far away, maybe a couple 100 miles away is what Spirit's showing me. And I'm not sure, again, I don't have a map in front of me to map this out for you. But to sum it up, no Mount Adams, no major eruption to worry about, but definitely in the near future in the United States, which may actually happen any day now, actually, or in November. Even more likely in December, the end of November, early December, when we're in that Mercury retrograde energy shift. A time that we would want to look for is around December 15th. December 15th through December 21st, but both the 15th and the 18th. But that whole window of December 15th through the 21st, which is solstice, Spirit's showing me is going to be very significant when it comes to volcanic activity and earthquake activity. So we're going to have to keep our eyes peeled for that. Excuse me. And again, what's going to erupt in the United States after the volcanic eruption. So it's symbolic more than anything. And it's probably, again, Mount St. Helens. And then the activity in Yellowstone, both happening. Spirit says there'll be 3 in all that erupt within a short period of time. Perhaps within a 6-month window or a 6-week window. But there's some type of a 6 connection to that. So we'll have to keep our eyes on the volcanoes, friends. Let's move on to Ellen K., who says, Joseph, can you tell me if we are at the beginning of the 7 years of tribulation, as it says in the Bible, which again is something I did touch base on yesterday. So really thoroughly, actually, in yesterday's show. So go back and look at that. Just to sum it up quickly for those that don't or missed that episode or what have you. I had a vision when I was preparing, I think, my 2017 world prediction. So that would have been like December 2016. Might have even been 2018 predictions. But it was right before I went to Peru, which Peru was in July. So it was that previous December. I forget. I'm pretty sure it was 2018, actually. And Spirit said 2025 to 2032 would be the most challenging time for humanity on the planet Earth. And then when I looked at the numbers and saw that next year, 2025, is a 9-year in numerology. 9s are all about endings, death of cycles, sometimes lots of deaths of people as well. But it's also about humanitarian efforts. That's why I figured and still feel, because we're still got some time left in October, that there would be some type of huge weather event. And we saw 2 of them already, like Hurricane Helene being one in early October. Humanitarian efforts. So next year is going to be a huge year for that. 2032 is a 7-year in numerology. And that period from 2025 to 2032 is 7 years in all. So that's where I did a video back in 2018 called Tribulation. You can look it up. It's still there. When I went to Peru and worked with the Shaman Puma, he confirmed that same window of time. Now, there's a video, and I don't know who the person was that did put this together, but there's a video, October 9th. You can go to that website.com. That takes the scriptures from the Bible and Revelation and aligns them with astrological alignments. Basically claiming that October 9th, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse actually appeared in the skies in an astrological alignment. Check it out. Watch it for yourself. But no doubt we're heading into something big, something huge. And it's not something for us to fear. It's something more to embrace. Because all the structures have to collapse. Everything's going to collapse, friends. It has to. It has to. Everything that was created by the darkness, which again is basically everything that's around us, it all has to collapse. The economies, the dollars, the current monetary systems, the medical community, the schools, what else? Governments. It's all got to collapse. And we see it happening. And we see a lot of things. In some places, it does appear like it's apocalyptic times. So what we need to do most is just be prepared always and have at least a week or two's food stored away, water, means to cook that food, and such. Because there is a point coming up which I'm going to do a total separate video on, the 3 days of darkness and the prophecies of the 3 days of darkness. And when I feel that's plausible time that could actually happen. So be sure to keep an eye out for that video. Let's move on to the next question. Our next question comes from Sean, who is asking, Joseph, what month between October, November, December 2024 will the price of gold be at its highest price? December for sure. December. I still feel, and I'm waiting for a drop to happen. I've been waiting for a while, and all it did is go back up with silver. And silver is way up there right now. But I do feel, and it will take a big world event where it's going to drop. And that's when I want to go in and buy a bunch. But I'm tired of waiting. I'm impatient. And I do feel those world events are upon us, especially here in the United States. And I see big drops happening in the economy, especially when we move in to 2025. 2025 is the 9 vibration. And think about this. This year is the 8 universal year, which is all about the economy, all about finances, and all about infinite possibilities. It's also the year that the United States and many others, but United States launched the CDDC, I believe it's called, the digital currency. They did that on purpose in the 8 vibration. They're not pushing it yet, but they created it. Because that's what they're going to start pushing when everything begins to collapse. That's where they're going with this, linking it all. When really the best system that seems to be going into place right now is the brick system. The real system backed by real mineral, gold. But again, I do feel that something different is going to come into play. And currency being backed by something else besides gold. We've seen it backed by gold before, then it went to the oil. Now our dollar in America ain't backed by nothing. Just us. Because we're all just serial numbers to their big corporation, the United States government of America. So highest prices, December. I'm thinking maybe right around early, say between the 7th and the 15th. Between that period of time. Just keep your eye out. But really what I want is when it's going to go down. And I'm thinking that's going to happen soon. Something is on the horizon, friends. We all feel it. Something huge, especially here in the United States. When the elections happen, woo, it's going to be delayed. And we're not going to know, really. One's going to claim that they won. The other one's going to claim they won. And it's just going to be a circus show. Let's move on to Leanne. How do you recognize which dreams you have are predictive and which dreams are just that, dreams? TYIA, for your consideration, thank you in advance. Oh, I had to think about that for a minute. For your consideration in this subject. It's a good subject, actually, Leanne. Dreams are tricky. And I've had many occasions where friends or even clients would say, a friend would call, oh my God, I had a dream. My husband was in a bad accident and died. My response is always, have your dreams ever come true before? 99% chance that your reply is going to be no. Then why would you worry about it coming true now? And focusing and believing. Remember, your belief, your thoughts, your words are powerful. Your thoughts and words are literally the blueprint to your future. So when you have a dream like that and you get totally engulfed and overwhelmed with believing that it's going to come true, you're likely going to manifest it to do exactly that and come true. But on the subject, here's a good one to put in here is visits from deceased loved ones that happen in our dreams. So again, going back to, before I go to that, let me bottom line answer your question is there's really the only way to recognize it is if you already are somebody who dreams prophetic and has prophetic dreams, then you would know. But chances are 99%, 99.5% that it's just a dream. We do get visits, however, from deceased loved ones in our dreams, which is actually very, very hard for them to do. Because not everybody is receptive to receiving visits through their dreams. And it's really not a dream. It's a visit. There's really a difference. You're basically pulled out of your body and taken to this visit. How do you tell the difference? It's pretty simple. If your mom passes and you have a dream of your mom and your brother, sister, and a bunch of people are there, next morning you'd have to call up and ask your brother, sister, and all the living people in the dream that you saw if they had the same dream. Chances are they didn't have the same dream because it was just a dream. Now, if you have a dream and your deceased mom or whoever's in the dream, and you see people in the dream that are also deceased, or likely you see other people there, but you don't recognize or see who they are or see their faces, that's a visit. And even more validating and 100% validation that you are having a visit through dreams from deceased loved ones or even pets, when that visit ends, you instantly wake up and you're emotional. That is a visit. And again, it's very, very hard for deceased loved ones to do that for us. So it's really simply the thought that pops up in your mind of somebody that's passed. You get the little willies, goosebumps. That's when you know they're right there with you. That's when you have a conversation. Hey, I know you're here. Happened to me yesterday when I was feeding my friend's cat. My friend Susie was there in the kitchen. I knew it 100%. And I'm like, I know you're here. I know you're here. I want a good sign. How you doing over there? And then the song that I used to call and sing to her all the time, Susie Q, came on the radio. And I knew it. So I danced in the kitchen with her. It was quite fabulous. And I know she was there. You just got to know. Trust your intuition. They come around strongly right after they passed, especially that first couple weeks, actually. First 6 weeks. And then the first 6 months. And then they're over there in spirit doing whatever they do. And then they come down and visit us whenever we're having challenges, we're having a really challenging, difficult time, or when it's a holiday or a special occasion. If it's your birthday and your mama's in heaven, I guarantee she's stopping by on your birthday to say hello. Always remember that. They're always there, too, and they see everything that's going on. Even though they're doing whatever they do in the heavens, they still know everything that's going on with us. And that's when they come down at our sides, when they know we're going through challenges or difficulty. And then we can call on them at any time to be with us. Dreams are tricky, though, and you got to watch those dream dictionaries. Because I used to have a shop that I started when I was 19 and until my mid-20s, a New Age shop. And we had dream books and bunches of them. And I remember I had a dream about a pow pow. And I went in and I pulled 5 dream books off the shelf from 5 different authors. Looked up pow pow, one of them things. And it all said the same, it said something different. They all said something completely different that didn't make any sense. What I've kind of gathered is people that write them, not that they're wrong, but they're interpreting it based on their experience with dreams. Dreams can be easy I'm pretty good at interpreting people's dreams for them, but there is messages through our dreams. But the prophetic part, not very many people have prophetic dreams. It's very rare. So let's see what Denise has, a good supporter, a member of the tribe. Is it true that the Rothschilds bailed Trump out of bankruptcy? No. Where did you hear that from anyway? No. Spirit says, nope, definitely not. Nobody bailed him out. Except for maybe the bank. Maria, which is interesting, asking a similar question about the same group of people. I'm curious if the Rockefellers or Rothschilds, Carl Schwab, Bill Gates, George Soros, and their families, of course, are all going to get exposed for what they are doing to our country and our world. And don't let me forget about BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street. Good question, Maria. Well, here's the thing, Maria, and everybody. They're already being exposed. It's already happening. Because 20 years ago, you mentioned Rockefellers and talk about everything. You were just a conspiracy theorist. Now we know the realities of it. Like Rockefeller, who's basically created the whole pharmaceutical industry. You know the old West movies where it'd be the guy going around selling the fake cures, cures for cancer. Here's your cure, and he'd sell it and then he'd disappear from the town. They couldn't find him. That was Rockefeller. Old man Rockefeller, who I don't believe is living anymore, I'm sure. Or unless he is. Some say he's a reptilian. Maybe perhaps he is. That's how it all started. And back then, you can go town to town across country and they wouldn't find you because you would go all the way across country. That's when took that money and then started making, his own little tinctures and selling them in stores, which became pharmacies. And you got to look at the history, and there's documentaries on it. It's quite fascinating. So to answer your question, are they going to, they're already being exposed, and they have been continuously exposed. Gates is being exposed, all of them. So yeah, they are getting exposed, but here's the thing. Are they ever going to be taken down? What Spirit shows me, they're already, as soon as I say that, Spirit shows me the Tower card. The tarot card, the Tower, with, the tower tipped over on fire with the people falling out. So I'm going to say yeah to that. I don't know when, but hallelujah, yeah to that. Now, BlackRock and Vanguard, that's a different species, and that's going to connect. That's going to fall into different pieces and form into something different in the future. I don't know what that is. But they're going to have huge, massive losses as well in the future. They think they're solid, like a rock, but they're not so solid. Because when a rock falls from, this is Spirit, when a rock falls from a far distance, it cracks apart into lots of little tiny pieces. Spirit's got good sense of humor. Let's go to Chris in the chat room, another big supporter of the channel. What will happen with the tax system? I heard another psychic say they saw income taxes going away because people were going to stop paying. When's that happen? Darling, that's just not happening. And I'm going to tell you why. First of all, common sense. Apparently, whoever you heard this from has no common sense. Common sense, first of all, is most of these people get paychecks. And a majority of these paychecks come from big corporations. They automatically take it out of your paycheck. You don't have a choice or you don't get a paycheck. So how are people going to just stop paying? Now, if corporations stop paying and businesses stop paying, that'd be a different story. But they're not going to do that either because the government will come in and shut them down. What's going to happen is there's going to be a new tax system that goes into place in the future. Because we're going to need to pull together, Spirit says, because you still need infrastructure. And you need to build things, you need to do things. And not everybody's willing to go out and build and help build dams and stuff or whatever we're doing in the future. We got to pay for it. But not as much as we're paying now, because most of what we're paying now is funding conflicts and funding all these secret organizations and underground governments and God only knows what. And the whole Luciferian agenda. What I see is something going into place, and it's going to change many times before we get to the new earth. And it'll be small, a very small percentage that's automatically taken from all of us. And we'll see things, even state taxes shrink down. States are going to come together. That's what I said. Remember, I saw in the future the United States breaking up into unions. That could be wise, 5 separate unions. So then it's no longer state tax. You're more supporting your union, which is going to be a lot less money. A lot less. That's what, remember, Spirit said, it may not sound good or positive that we're breaking into unions, but it actually is positive for the good of all, especially when it comes to taxes. And that's what we're going to see happen. When? I would hope by 2032, because 2032, I believe, is when we step into the new earth. And that's when we come to the end of the time of tribulation. Let's go to Vicky, who's asking, when holding light and praying to higher beings, is there a difference in the power attached to our thoughts versus spoken words? Good question, Vicky. Good question. As I said earlier, your thoughts and words are the blueprints to your future. Everything you think and say is what you manifest. When people say your greatest fears become a reality, why is that? Because you put gas in that gas tank. Don't put gas in that gas tank. Put gas in the gas tank of your dreams and desires. When someone asks me, what's your greatest fear? I'm like, I don't have one. Oh, sure you do. Everybody does. I'm like, I don't. And if I do, I don't want to know what it is, because I'm not putting gas in that gas tank. Because then my car will break down. No, thank you. Your thoughts are the most powerful because everything starts with a thought. The thought is the ignition. The thought is the match. The words that back up that thought is igniting the bonfire. It's really igniting it on fire even more. You can do prayer by yourself. Spirit hears us. We don't have to speak out loud for our spirits to hear us, by the way. Even your deceased loved ones. Pay very close attention to your thoughts. Your thoughts and words are not wrong phrase. Sorry. The thoughts in your head are not always you. That's what I wanted to say. The thoughts in your head are not always you. That's the challenge of deciphering. Is it you? Is it spirit? Or are you picking up on other people's thoughts? Because we do that all the time. We can pick up on other people's thoughts all the way across country, thousands of miles away. So when you're thinking of somebody and you're thinking negatively, that's affecting them on an energetic level. It's also spinning back and affecting you as well, 3 times over. So what the question basically, when we're praying to higher beings, we can do it through our thoughts versus spoken words. Spoken words are much more powerful when it comes to affirmations, manifesting things, and really getting our point across to people too, right? Spoken words. But you don't have to. Your thoughts are powerful. Remember, your thoughts are what ignite it. That's the ignition. That's all you need. Stay focused on your thoughts. Again, what you think and what you constantly overwhelm yourself with is what you're going to get in the future. So stay focused on the positive and say things positively. Do affirmations every day, like this one. Hands over the heart. I have all the money I need, and money flows into my life with ease and joy each and every day. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Yeah. That works really well. Let's move on to Tony's question. Do you see them using 5G to set off the Marburg like they did like they hid a Trojan horse in the poison? No, not at all. And what Spirit shows me is what you refer to as poison. There actually were several different ones put out that have different effects. So not all of them contain the same horse, as you say. And we'll have nothing to do with that. 5G is its own little thing in itself, and they're pushing 6G now. That's the new one. Luckily, out here in Sedona, we don't have 5G. Not here where I am, anyway. I don't even think we have 4G. I think we're still on 3. But you can't worry about that and consume yourself with that. Remember, they also have clothing. It's a little pricey. If you're near those towers, they do put off a lot of radiation. They have EMF shirts and hats and clothing that block off that stuff. Because if you go down that rabbit hole, there's a lot in that rabbit hole. Now, Galen in the chat is asking, when the United States map changes and land masses go underwater, will Prescott, PV, Arizona, be a safe place to be? Well, Prescott's kind of in the mountains a bit. And the higher you are, the better you are. Because if we look back at the Hopi and even the Lakota natives, the ancestors, the elders, told their children, grandchildren, and so forth that there's going to be a point where you need to go to the mountains. You need to go to higher land. It's going to be too hot in the lower plains, in the lower places. I know where I'm at is safe, especially where I'm hidden out away. I know Spirit brought me to this part of Arizona, specifically where there's people that say, oh, it's going to be underwater, blah, blah. It's not. And if it is, I won't be here then. I'll be gone, buried, and ashed away or wherever in the heavens. I'm not concerned. I know I'm in a good place. The only thing that would concern me here is an earthquake, even a small one. Because even when it rains, you got to be careful driving down the road because rocks come rolling down off the canyon all the time. I had one roll in front of my tire and blow it out once. There's a couple people that perished from rocks, boulders rolling off the mountain. And if there was a small earthquake, there'd be an awful lot of them rolling off the mountain. So Prescott, if you're up higher, and I wouldn't worry about so much, what's safe and where's not to be safe. Where you need to be is where your heart takes you. And if you're in a place that you're happy and joyful, that's all that's going to matter in the end. Because your soul contract is going to determine when you exit and how you exit anyway. Doesn't matter. So to find a safe zone, because clients call me just for that, and I'm not allowed to tell you where to go. It's part of your soul contract to figure out the best place for you to be on the planet. Now, if you called me and you were a client and you had 3 different places, I can narrow it down usually. But Spirit always says the same thing, even when I narrow it down. There might be somewhere that's even better than that. How do you tell? Well, there's also something called astrocartography, where they take a map in your astrological chart and it creates lines based on the planets and such during the time of your birth. Certain lines that it creates is where you should be living. When I lived in Pennsylvania, I remember I had someone do it for me. And I don't know whatever happened to her. I'd recommend her, but she disappeared. She pointed to Pennsylvania. She's like, look, there's no lines here. You should not be living here. Because everything you're putting out the universe and all the giving and all the doing you do is not coming back to you the way it's supposed to, based on your astrology. Then she pointed right over to Arizona. She's like, dude, you need to move over here to Arizona. That's the place to go. And then when you go there, everything will start coming back in full circle. She was correct. I forget which line goes, but my line goes directly right through Sedona. Down from Canada, Utah, right down into Sedona. So look into your astrocartography. Better yet, I did a video. Billionaire bunkers in safe zones. A couple years ago, I think. It was 2 years ago. It's a really good video. It's literally a documentary that takes you through different parts. The billionaire bunkers, why they're building them, the underground cities, but also the maps that have been channeled through over the decades that are alleged maps of the future Earth. And we take a look at those future maps in that video, Billionaire Bunkers and Safe Zones. Someone on, I believe, TikTok, and I don't know, I didn't, look it up myself, claimed to have discovered that the land coming out from the one map, future map, is where Bill Gates is buying up all the farmland. Which that would not surprise me at all. It's probably totally true, actually. So go check out that video, Billionaire Bunkers and Safe Zones, and just know that you need to go where your heart takes you, where you're going to be happy. That's all that matters. Because when you're in a safe place and home is always safe. And if you love home and you love where you are, that's all that matters, because that's going to bring more abundance into your life. If you're living somewhere you're not happy, and what are you doing? Get out of there. And no, in the future, you're living somewhere even more amazing. Manifest it. Make it happen. Remember, universe is listening. The next question comes in from Dave. Dave is asking if there's going to be a pole shift coming. Well, Dave, the poles have been shifting since 2011. Likely maybe a cause of the Fukushima earthquake. Who knows? But if you look back, it's changing and shifting the poles by a small percentage every year. That percentage that it's shifting has been speeding up the past few years. So it's already happening. Some believe, perhaps even myself, that this could very well be related to the Hopi prophecy of the blue star Kachina and the red star Kachina. The blue star Kachina being obviously a comet, which I believe is the comet Apophis, which is coming on Friday, April 13th, Friday the 13th, 2029. It'll be so close to Earth, the comet Apophis, that it'll appear blue to us in the sky. Now, there's many fear mongers out there saying, oh, it's going to crash into the Earth. It is not going to crash into the planet Earth. Although, very likely, this could be followed by small meteors hitting the Earth. Ones that aren't able to burn up in the atmosphere. Kind of like that movie. What was that movie? Wasn't Russell Brand in that? Not Russell Crowe in that movie? With the meteors. Yeah, they put everything in front of us in Hollywood. They know what's coming. They know that may also be what's actually changing the climates. Because the planet, the red star Kachina, which many believe is the planet Nibiru, or Planet X in the Bible, planet Wormwood being the comet Apophis. According to the Hopi prophecy, the blue star Kachina comes, and soon after, the red star Kachina dances in the sky. And then the dancing of our people come to a close. The great purification of the earth begins. The red star planet, where it's also referred to as, is supposedly 10 or 20 times bigger than the Earth. I think it's 10 times bigger. And it goes around a sun way out that we don't see out of our solar system. And it comes around every 3,200 years, somewhere around there. Comes around past the Earth and around our sun. Comes around the sun. 7 years later, coincidentally, it comes by the Earth again. Which is interesting. Because that could even be the 7 years of tribulation, if you think about it. 2029 is when it comes. The first time passing the Earth, Friday, April 13th, that's when the blue star comes. And then it goes around the sun and comes back again in 2036. 7 years later. Could that be the 7 years of tribulation? Well, we'll find out. Start next year. And if it doesn't seem to be next year, then we know it's coming by 2029. So going back, that's being this planet so big, when it comes into our solar system, it affects all the energy of the solar system, including the magnetic pull and the magnetic energy of the Earth, therefore causing the tilt to occur. Now, this goes back to ancient prophecy and what happened back before, and what happened before and before. It's in the Sumerian tablets too, I believe. So it's already happening. It's affecting us. It's not going to be the whole poles completely flipping, but it's going to be a change of the Earth's geography for sure. And it is going to bring about major earthquakes, tsunamis, and a completely shifting of the plates that make our land masses completely different. It'll bring mountains out of the sea, while other mountains sink into the sea. And again, worrying about it isn't going to help you any. And they don't tell us this because they don't want you to know. But they throw all this climate stuff out at us to help, bring you under more control. So when they mess with the weather with their manipulation, with the patented technology that we all read about, and I showed you on the show, they have lots of patented technology. Even Bill Gates has patented technology on steering hurricanes. Yes. So yeah, tell everybody, oh, it's this is happening in the earth, and there's too many cow farts and too many people. And really, they know exactly what's happening, and they're using it to their own advantage. Control. And that's why they built all their underground bunkers and all. You got to watch that video if you missed it, Billionaire Bunkers and Safe Zones. Let's move on to Bicky Faye. Is there a chance that neither Harris or Trump will win the election, but someone else who could be better than either one of those two? Can we only wish and dream, baby? Can we manifest that together, friends? Hold that in the light. An amazing miracle happens and somebody else goes in, but it's just simply not going to be the case, unfortunately. Part of the plan of the global elite is to cause chaos in the United States, to bring all this about. And so neither they're both going to be in it. And we're too close to it anyway. What how many days away are we? Like 14, 15 days away or something like that. It'd be interesting. And the only thing that's very potentially still possible is that they take Trump out, as I predicted before that they will attempt to do. But I don't see them being successful. And regardless, nobody else is going in their place. I did believe at one point and felt that they were going to switch Harris out. That didn't happen. I was actually wrong on that. Let's move on to the next question from Joey, Joewe. Being listening to you for ages. Thanks. What's happening around South Africa? You have to be very aware of the fires that will be coming to certain areas of South Africa, especially along coastlines. You're heading into a time period where it's going to heat up to enormous temperatures as well. I also see some kind of problem with either like an import or food getting in there for a short period. I don't know why, but I just feel like there's a problem getting that in there. And at the same time, like the rest of the planet, basically at this point, you must be aware of the big storms that are going to hit down below, I guess in the southern half. The major floods. I see mud. I see people being rescued. I see people holding on as these flash floods come in, or these big floods. So some big storms are going to be hitting your area. So buckle down and be safe. Always have a plan. And that's all I get for that right now at this moment. Brenda's saying, has Spirit ever at any time showed you Donald Trump being behind bars? No, I did see him being arrested, which we did see happen. But Spirit never showed me him behind bars. Spirit said that they were going to push hard to put him behind bars. And then very likely next year we could see him in handcuffs. Don't all be surprised. Even if he wins, do not be surprised. Because they're still going to take him down and try to take him down hard. And even harder after the elections. But I did not see him. I did not. Remember, things can shift and change too, and timelines can shift and change. Barefoot Jamie says, could you ask Spirit, will there be any major ocean events around Massachusetts or New York in the near future? What would you call a major ocean event? What would be like a tsunami or something? No. Eventually, yes. I mean, I did a video on the New York East Coast tsunami video. If you missed that, check it out. That also goes back to certain prophecies and certain things that were said in the past by others. Things that were shown us in movies. And even in New York, there is a church, and the big pillars, which I find very fascinating, show a tidal wave coming into New York. Why would you put that on pillars in New York City? As if you're trying to manifest it at a church or sacred building. A little odd. So what you do need to be aware of is big storms coming in, and more than anything, the winter months. Big problems when the winter comes, especially in Boston. In Boston, they are going to be buried in the snow. There's going to be major closures due to snow and even problems getting the snow out of there. I see like literally snow being scooped up put in dump trucks and they're taking that snow and they're dumping it into the waters to get rid of it because there's so much snow. And that's not just Boston, that's parts of New York. And I even see New York City having its fair share of ice storms that take out power lines. Beware the month of December. December, friends, because the snow is going to blanket practically the entire northern continent of the earth in December, in the winter months. Especially December, again, between the 15th and Christmas Day. And many people are going to have snow on the ground on Christmas Day, leftover snow, while others are going to be enduring severe snow that keeps them locked in for the winter. Or not for the winter, for the holiday. Not for the winter. God forbid, that would be awful. Well, unless you're prepared and you have enough firewood and everything, then that wouldn't be so awful. If you got everything you need, then nothing like being locked in during the snowstorm with a fireplace going, roasting some marshmallows, yum, drinking some hot chocolate. I know we're going to get a lot of snow here because the rats have told me so. The mice have showed me so. I have never seen so many mice this year ever, even in the attic, which I never had them up there, ever had them up there. And they started raiding the neighborhood at the end of August. They don't usually raid the neighborhood. They come in all the time for the fall, usually the end of September into October. That's when they ate my car a couple years ago, the inside of the engine. This year, they started at the end of August. They were 4 to 6 weeks early. That says something in itself, friends. So going back to Massachusetts and New York, that's what you got to batten down for and get ready for is the severe winter months. And that, in turn, come spring, it's going to bring mudslides and lots of problems with water. We'll talk about that in another video. Let's move on to Valerie. Can you ask Spirit if California is going to flip from one party, Dem state, to maybe even a red state this election cycle? So many of the horrible and crazy policies that start here, sadly, spread to the rest of the United States. Interesting, because the first thing Spirit actually shows me is there's some type of cheating happening in your home state there, Valerie. No surprise with that, huh? So there's some kind of cheating going on. So at the same time, I don't see a flip there. I see certain areas flipping in California. A few little areas that flip from blue to red. But the rest in the state as a whole, I do not see that. Because of what Spirit showed me instantly of what's happening. I find that interesting, actually. Wasn't expecting that. Anahita in the chat is asking, do I see removal of Mullis and another revolution in Iran in my lifetime? I don't know what Mullis is. Malas? What do you see for Iran in the near future? Not good things. Not good things at all. Unfortunately, again, like the Middle East, it's like apocalyptic times happening there. I see problems with, I said this, I think, on yesterday's show. I'm seeing the symbol for radiation. So there's something happening with radiation, and they're going to, stay far away from power plants and anything that could be nuclear power plants, because I feel like strikes are coming to that. I do see people in the streets of Iran gathering together in anger for what's happening against the leader. And I do see that leader being taken out and taken down. At the same time, thinking of that, Netanyahu pops in my mind. He's another one that is going to be taken out. Past predictions, I talked a lot about assassinations, assassination attempts, even the one on DT. I even said that he was going to be shot in the right shoulder. I was a few inches off, but still. And he put his arm up in the air that he was okay. And that's what we saw happen. Except, again, I was a few inches off. But I see a takedown of Netanyahu. I see changes of power in Iran twice. I don't know why, but 2 changes of power in Iran, big power. I would imagine one of them is the Ayatollah. And I say, like everybody else, pray, stay and hold things in the light and know that you're safe. Follow your intuition. And if you don't feel safe where you're at, then start making a plan and holding a vision for a future where you live somewhere that you are joyful in. It's just not good. And I feel like that's coming soon. Maybe Halloween too, because Halloween, I keep feeling a large loss is happening on Halloween. So Chrissy says, will our water supply be cut off at some point due to shortages or contamination? Well, I don't know where you're at, Chrissy. That would help to tell you where you're at. On a world scale, no. Nostradamus did say that water would become worth its weight in gold. And it's already that. Because people don't realize that when you go buy a bottle of water at the little convenience store, you're paying more per gallon than you are for gasoline. Especially if you're buying one of them Fiji or one of them fancy artisan waters. Right, what do you get? Like a little bottle, which is, I don't know, say a pint or a quart or whatever they are, for like $3.50. Gas is $3.40. You're paying more for this little bottle of water than you are for gasoline. They got people on that one. Really, really. I'm glad I get my water from up the road right out of the mountain. I am so blessed. So it depends on where you live. Spirit does show me another Flint, Michigan's coming in United States. There's going to be water problems in the Middle East, especially in Turkey, mostly caused by the Euphrates River drying up, which it has been drying up, but they're going to face problems. Egypt's going to face problems due to the Euphrates, especially when we get into the summer months of 2025. In turn, I see a dam being blown up on purpose, probably Egypt blowing up the dam in Turkey because Turkey's hogging the water. I see an attempt to contaminate the water, and it does affect a small percentage of people before it's caught on to. I don't know where I'm at. I believe I'm in two places. I believe there's a water contamination issue that happens here in the United States. Like somebody actually contaminating. And then also United Kingdom comes to mind. I see water being shut down due to cyber attacks. But again, short period of time and just in certain places. And this is throughout the globe. Australia being one of those places. And, you know, speaking of Australia, Sydney's been coming to my mind lately a lot. I don't know why. Perhaps that there's some kind of major weather event that's coming to Sydney, Australia. Streets underwater. It's been coming to me the past couple of days, and I haven't got quite any thorough information on it. Heather is asking, will Trump implement NESARA when he is in office? NESARA is... How do I put this without hurting your feelings? Sorry, I don't know who came up with this whole NESARA thing, but it's just not, there's no reality to that. No reality to that at all. What's going to be implemented is new currencies when we hit into the new earth. You can call it NESARA if you want to, but it's going to be quite different than that. And I don't see new, they're going to try, meaning the global elite, the big bankers are going to want to ignite, bring in their new currencies. They already are. But they're going to be pushing them on us by the time we get into 2026. That's why I have no doubt they're collapsing everything, at least the United States dollar, between now and next year. Likely really, really soon, we're going to begin to see that happen. Because 2026 is a 1 year. And remember, they follow numbers. They have astrologers, and all the globally, they have all that. They know what they're doing. That's why they started to see DC in an 8 vibrational year, which is about money and finances. 9 vibration, all about collapsing. And I'm shocked that the markets are doing so amazing right now. Spirit says it's not going to last long. It's not going to last long. And then the 2026 being the 1 year. New beginnings, new starts, the time for them to initiate it. But I feel like the currency that's going to benefit us all comes in the distant future by the turn of the century, 2030 to 2032. And right now, the BRIC system is feeling like the system that's going to be the most beneficial. But I also believe and feel that the BRIC system, Spirit showing me this now, as where they're gonna connect the mark of the beast. That'll be interesting. I don't know how they do that. I know nothing about that. I'm just telling you what the spirits say. Joey G in the chat. Joey G is saying, Joseph, which survival foods do you find to be the tastiest? Thank you, Joey G. I like Mountain House and Peak Fuel or Peak Refuel. Peak Fuel, I think it's Peak Fuel. Peak Fuel is a little pricey, to say the least. It's actually very pricey. They don't give you sale deals very often. I don't see sale deals on their food, but it is the tastiest. And it depends. Like some of the stuff I like and some of it I don't. Like we'll start with Peak Fuel. They all have that chicken and biscuits, and I tried them, both of them. I don't like it. It needs more seasoning, and it's just gross. It's just me. So if I'm starving, yeah, it'll be great. I like the fettuccine chicken Alfredo, really good. Both of them have, and the one from Peak Fuel is really, really good. You can see the cheese and all melted in it. The other one you can't, but I find them both to be good. You got to stay away from that Patriots one because it's just garbage. I ordered that and I regret doing so. Not only that, they ripped me off and didn't send me half the stuff that was supposed to be in there. I called and it was just a mess. Never got that macaroni and cheese that was supposed to be part of that box. And I tried some of what was in it and I threw it away. That's how gross it was. Mountain House often has big sales. And so that's the most. And there's others. And someone in Canada asked, because I think that question's in here too. I'm in Canada. And it's too much money to have it shipped here. So in Canada, I would tell you, I don't know because I'm not in Canada, but I would tell you go to the Canadian Prepper, his YouTube. Because he has a whole brand and stuff. And I know he has survival foods. And I recall somebody telling me that he had good foods. But I didn't look into it or test it because he's in Canada. Probably the same thing. It'd be too much money to ship it here. But I would go look at him. Because I know that question's in here somewhere. Now we got Barbara. Barbara B is saying, is California going to have a big event, either a hurricane or earthquake, in which there will be massive losses of lives? Well, you're there, Barbara. You get the vibe going on? And you didn't say when. They are going to have an event. No doubt about it. The question is when. That's the big question. And I do see big storms coming in. Big storms. Especially to the mid-California, say mid to upper California to the north. I see major flooding in the streets. And even in LA, I see flooding in the streets. I would imagine this be coming in the very near future. When we get to the northern parts of California, I would be more concerned for a big wildfire to happen right along the borders. Northern California, right along the border, is what Spirit shows me. And not only that, the snow predictions I brought up, the Sierras in California, you're not going to want to stay there all winter because you might end up being stuck there. As far as the big earthquake, that big earthquake to me is going to go from California all the way up to Vancouver Island. And that's going to be affected from something that happens in the Pacific Ocean. That's going to affect both sides of the coast. So it'll affect Japan, the Philippines, likely Hawaii, because it's happening beneath. And it's going to cause, of course, tsunami waves. That's going to be the biggest concern. And I don't feel like that's happening necessarily until we get closer to 2029, closer to the Hopi's prophecy. And I did a video called The Great Purifier. The Great Purifier talks in detail. It's like a documentary on the Blue Star Kachina and the Hopi prophecy. So be sure to check that out. I am not even halfway through all your amazing questions. So I'm going to take a few more because I think we got about an hour worth of content so far. Don't want to make it too long because then people won't be encouraged to watch it. But I'll come back and do another one next week answering the rest of the questions. So we got, Barbara was the last one, we got 12 domains. Will the far southeast coast of New South Wales, Australia, be affected by the Pacific Ocean disturbance? Thank you. You are a good man. Well, thank you, 12 domains. I don't know what your name is, but we'll call you 12. Yo, 12. So the far southeast of New South Wales. I would have to pull that up on a map. So I'm going to have to cut this out and pull it up on a map and look. All right, I pulled up Google Earth here, and I'm not familiar with Australia as much as I would love to go there, but it is an awful long plane ride. I know that. One day. I didn't know New South Wales, that's where Sydney is. That's all you had to do was say Sydney. Sydney, Australia. Let's see. Go down, 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 down. Spirit says that all coastlines will be affected in the future, no matter where you are, in some form or another. So actually, I should have just went with that without looking at the map. Spirit says it's that. The dog next door. Sorry if you hear that. It's supposed to be a quiet neighborhood. So Spirit says Pacific Ocean disturbance is what you were actually specifically asking for. So the Pacific Ocean, no, I think you're far enough from that big Pacific Ocean event that's going to happen. Is going to be further to the north, but yeah, it's still going to affect you. Could bring small waves to your coast. I would believe that the other part of Australia, what's this called, Queensland, would be more affected. You're not... Again, Spirit says in the future, all coastlines will be affected in some form or another, but you specifically asked about the Pacific event that was in my past predictions. And I would say with that, you look pretty safe. Queensland would be more at risk of being hit by that. Not only that, Queensland and that upper part of Australia is more vulnerable because of Papua New Guinea and the Solomon Islands, and some of those islands are going to go under the water in the future, according to Spirit. And we thank the spirits for their great information. Hey, and if you're liking this content so far, please do me a flavor, baby. Flavor Flav, and smash that there thumbs up button. Show your love, because it really helps this channel to grow and helps us to get a bigger tribe and get this information out to others. Carlos is asking, do you travel safe for October 26th through the 31st? They are predicting a 3-day shutdown and a 10-day outage. Who's predicting that? Philip or Carlos? Who's predicting that? I didn't hear that. Who's they? If you're between October 26th and 31st, and I don't know where in the world you're living either. You got to, when you put questions and you're asking about certain areas, I got to know where you live. But there's nothing going on with the numbers or astrology that would be unsafe to travel. So I would say, yeah, you definitely can travel during that time period, and I wouldn't worry about traveling. And I don't know if you're traveling by car, by aeroplane, by helicopter. I don't know how you're traveling either. But to touch on that 3-day shutdown and 10-day outage, I don't see that happening in October. Lori is saying, what year will there be light and good things coming? Lori, there's light and good things coming each and every day. We just have to know and focus on those things. Things are happening. The light's shining. The ascension codes, the sun's activity. Oh, we're in the light, baby. It's shining brightly. That's why all this truth's coming out. Look at even the CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch was just arrested, finally. I can't say because I'll get flagged for bullying, but you know what I was going to say. So he was arrested for the whole getting little ones caught up in traffic and all the other sick things these people do. So the light is shining, Lori. You got to focus on that. And good things are coming each and every day. Every day for yourself, personally. Focus on your amazing blessings every day. The more you do, the more blessings that are going to flow into your life. It's that simple, friends. That simple. I promise you, the more you focus on bitching and complaining, the more universe is going to give you the bitch and complain about. Believe you me, that's how it works. It's that simple. Did you see that dog? Somebody asked about the dog that climbed the Great Pyramid. I should have brought up that footage to show you, but they're not going to bring up that footage. So, they didn't. Why did the dog climb the pyramid, someone said? Because he could. Pretty simple. If I could, I would too. Although that's a heck of a climb. He was really chasing birds. Chasing birds up and got down safely as well. But dogs know energy too, but really the dog was just chasing birds. Beverly is saying Elon Musk's space rocket landed into metal chopsticks. Was this real? Or was it a hologram? It's all hologram on this planet. Dear Beverly, this is the matrix that we live in. It's all a hologram. But really, yes, that was real footage. That really did happen. And that's pretty freaking amazing, ain't it? And then, for every year that we advance technologically, the government advances secretly 50 to 100 years. They're so far ahead of us, it's ridiculous. But Elon, they can't get it past him. Now, Caroline is saying, do you see things? All right, friends, I'm going to leave you with that for today. I got 4 more pages of questions here. I will save those questions for another episode for next week. When I get through all those questions, I'll put out a message on a Tuesday show to put in more questions. But don't put your questions in now. They're not going to get answered. I got to go through the ones we got here first. And again, please show your love. Click that thumbs up button. If you're new here, you just hit the subscribe button and you're vibing with the tribing. Vibing with the tribing? We welcome you with open arms, open hugs. Don't forget to sign up for the free newsletter. And remember, you can catch me every Tuesday for Tuesday's Tittle Tea Time Predictions Update, where we talk about world events and how they may or may not relate to predictions and prophecy with new predictions each and every week. With that said, remember, dear friends, to celebrate life, celebrate you, be kind to others as you wish others be kind to you. And remember to be bold, be true, be kind, be you, baby. Let your light shine. And have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste and much love, friends. Much love.